Good morning. My name is Benjamin Moeller. I'm a paleontologist and tungsten medalist in the 1992 Winter Olympics for a sport I'm no longer legally allowed to say on camera. Today is day 4 of the Menefee expedition. In the last couple of days, the crew and I have been collecting 80 million year old fossils, including dinosaur bones, fish teeth, croc teeth, turtle bits, amber, as well as documenting petrified tree stumps. From one particular area that we're permitted for. And today we're going to be going into what is somewhat of a new area. So I and some other people on this crew in previous years have explored this area, and we've collected all kinds of things, but have kind of left it alone for a little while. And thanks to the erosional process, which is caused by wind and rain, water washing down the landscape, breaking down rock, there's high potential for new fossils to have been exposed in the last several years. So we're going to be re-exploring this area, doing more thorough documentation of the humate beds, collecting more amber, and hopefully finding lots more fossils as well. So let's get to the field. Here's a really nice vein of amber inside this humate layer. So we're collecting all of the solid samples. Focus! Guys, it is so difficult to get cameras to focus when the sun is shining right on your phone. So we're collecting these solid pieces, which will be processed. And yes, we will be looking for small insects to see if there's anything in there. No, there will not be any attempted extraction of dinosaur DNA, so don't even ask. But we can potentially find stuff like pollen grains, and that actually tells us quite a bit about all the different species of plants that don't leave behind petrified wood. This area can potentially tell us very many interesting things about the ecosystem. There's another example of a nice rich amber vein going through that humate layer. Spider spun a web right in front of this harvester ant mound. Nature is cruel. This is something I've definitely shown in previous years, but it's always good to come back and check up on. From the roots all the way up the trunk, this is probably one of the most impressive petrified trees in the area. You can still see so much texture and detail on the bark, and it's standing tall and straight exactly where it grew 80 million years ago. Just a very impressive and humbling organism. Another day, another dinosaur fossil. This, I believe, is a tail vertebrae from a theropod dinosaur. This is one of the carnivores. This is another Joe find, always coming up with great stuff. And this one was just kind of on the surface, so it came out real nice and easy. We're going to glue this up and make sure it all stays together. Theropod bones are quite fragile compared to those of the herbivores because they're hollow. So it takes a little bit of extra effort to make sure that they stay together. So we're going to glue this thing very thoroughly. We're out documenting a few more tree stumps with Harry. Say hi. So we're looking at, this is a really interesting one. So this is another, it was tilted on its side, but it's very clearly close to where it was growing. We've got a root intact here, another root intact here. So we're measuring the circumference around the trunk where the roots meet where the rest of it comes off. And that'll help tell us actually how tall this tree might have been while it was alive. So we got one last stump that we're going to measure here. And this is a really special one. This is one we call stump on a hump. We get up close so you can see all the lichen and the way that it glistens in the sun. So this is a tree that I've been coming back to and looking at for several years now. One of my early mentors in paleontology is a gentleman by the name of Doug Wolf, and he gave this fossil the nickname Stump on a Hump. And I think it's really appropriate. So it's sitting on this really soft mudstone, and over the years it has started to fall apart. So part of our documentation out here is just keeping a close eye on how quickly things fall. And this stuff doesn't last forever, and it's, I think, part of our responsibility to just bear witness. So I'm pretty comfortable calling this a cypress. It's got this slant to it, but a really big root ball. So all this you're looking at here, all these swirly pieces, this is part of the root ball. This is a tree that was growing in place for potentially a very long time, decades at a minimum, I'm sure. And it survived 80 million years in the exact same place that it grew. It's got maybe another 30 years to go, unfortunately, before it totally falls off. So someday, future paleontologists will come here and this thing will be totally blown apart. But for now, let's appreciate it.